Hey VC, how's it spinning? This is a response to Mr. Hall of Fame's State of the VC, and I've got to give you some background and say that I will usually agree with just about everything he's got to say because it just happens to work out that way, but also that he was the first person posting vinyl before I even really knew, before the VC really had a name. I saw his videos in 08, 09, something like that. And then when I got the ability to start posting videos, I started posting my own. So he was really my introduction, along with Derek, into what we do here. And I've also traded and swapped records and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, he's the reason I'm on here, the person I first started watching. So, you know, just, you know, for clarification, you know, I generally agree with what he's got to say. And this probably is going to go into one of those videos that, you know, it's just a clog and I don't care. But the thing of it is, a lot of this stuff that he touched on, you know, a lot of it makes sense. A lot of it I'm guilty of. So here we go. First thing he talked about, or one of the first things he talked about, was lengths of videos. And yeah, I've been guilty of that. With the, of course, this is pre-restrictions. This, you know, when you had the restrictions of 10 minutes and 15-minute videos, and some of you will probably remember that, you know, you had to keep it short and sweet or do things in multiple parts. When those went away, it's been a free-for-all, and things have opened up and you expanded and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm guilty of it, because, you know, if I had something to say, it didn't matter. And whether it took me 4 parts, 5 parts, at 15 minutes apiece, I was going to take it, and I would just either cut the video off or I'd edit it down. And I'd do it in one shot and edit it down into 4 or how many parts I needed. But yeah, I'm guilty of it because I've done it. And I think my longest video ran almost an hour. And I know that people can't usually sit down for an hour and watch something in one shot, and most people won't listen to me talk for that long, because even in church they get bored when I have to do that. So yeah, I get it, believe me, and I'm never expecting anybody to sit there and watch even, you know, a 15 or 20 minute video. I don't expect that. I just, you know, if I've got an idea, I'm gonna talk about it, and I'm not gonna finish until I'm done. And if I'm showing records and it takes that long because I've got to go through 40 or 50 records, you know, I'm gonna do it. One of the things that I've done, though, is I've usually put in the title, you know, or in the description, a warning about the length of the video, and that, you know, it's not going to be for everybody. One, because of its length, or two, because of the subject matter. You know, and I've also put warning videos. You know, don't watch this because it contains this, a certain subject matter that might not interest everybody. That happened with several rant videos, and in the past I've had to explain the rants and explain the warning videos, because people just had some issues with it. But it's like, if I've got something I'm pissed off about, I'm going to go off. It's a release for me to be able to do that. And if there's some, if that doesn't interest you, I'll warn you guys so that you don't have to sit and watch. But it's like, if I feel that I need to go off on Revolver Magazine because of some stupid shit that they did, I'm gonna do it. And that's kind of things. I've also gotten it because I insulted. I went off on a certain band, and somebody outside of the VC, got butthurt. And it's like, you really didn't pay attention to what I was saying. So, sorry for you. But, am I guilty of long videos? Absolutely. Do I put warnings? Yes, I do. And do I expect people to watch? No, I don't. I don't do this for viewers or subscribers. I didn't start this for viewers and subscribers. I never did. I don't give a shit about that stuff. That's not why I started to do this. That's one of the reasons why I won't monetize any of my accounts. Because I don't give a shit about that stuff. I have an obsession or passion or, what have you, with music and with records specifically as a format, and so I wanted to discuss, and the other thing is that I'm the only one that I know outside of social media that's into the subject as big as I am, so I've got nobody to share that with in my real life or life outside of YouTube. So that's what it is for me. I can come on and I can share this stuff because I've done trips with certain people, and I've talked about it with older family members and that kind of thing. But a lot of people, they don't, and none of my friends are, of course. It's just that this is one of my hobbies. It's one of my passions. One of my obsessions. And that kind of thing, and it's something, I got something to say. I'm gonna talk about it, but I'm guilty of it, absolutely. But I don't expect anybody to sit there and watch, because a lot of people, even family members, don't like to sit, and listen to me talk about stuff. So I get it, and it's just, I do it because it's something I feel, something I want to talk about it. And the other thing is, it's my fucking channel. I can do and say what I want. You don't like it, you don't watch, you don't subscribe, and that's that. And I'm not going to get offended, and neither should you. And it shouldn't be a problem. The other thing is gaps between videos. And, it's interesting because, it's an interesting topic because I've taken intentional breaks. I usually will take breaks around the holidays. This channel's been up, I think in a couple months it would be 3 years. I had another channel that was shut down because of my own stupidity. But I've taken intentional breaks, especially around the holidays, because I don't expect people to be watching, posting, and dealing with this because they're dealing with family and other obligations. The other thing is that, I've taken breaks because I haven't bought anything, and I don't have anything really to say, and I'm not really enthralled or excited with uploading a lot of old content because I just don't feel like doing it, and because I've got so much. it's I've got a lot. The other and the other thing is I've had issues where my computer was down for a couple of months and I lost content that I'd shot, that kind of thing. That was part of it. Another thing is, which I learned a lesson with the one attempt at doing this, is that people, back a couple years ago when I did this the first time and never done it again, people want me to stick to talking music and to talking vinyl. And I understand that, believe me. I did do one video showcasing a new video game, what was new at the time, video game that I was excited about and waiting for, and it was about a minute post. I just showed it real quick, talked about it, said I was going to fuck off and go play. And I learned a lesson that I probably shouldn't have needed to learn, because it should have been self-explanatory, of just you stick to music and you stick to records. And so that's what I've done. But that again, leading to a gap, is I'm operating and working on 4 different YouTube channels. 2 of them are about music. One's about video games. And one I'm not going to talk about because it's got nothing to do with anything. Sorry if I seem a little bit pissed off. My shoulder's been bothering me, so I'm not in the best of moods right now. But that's, some of these issues are kind of a foreign concept to me, and I don't understand why there's a problem. But the thing is, it's like there's, like I said, the last 2 things that I mentioned, I'm guilty of, and there were a lot of reasons for it. The stuff on video games, I'm not going to talk about on my music channels. And everything. I'm not going to do it, because this channel here, the Cult Leader channel, is for music, and that's what I'm going to leave it talking about. And if I have other interests, I can start it on the channel and do it there. And so, that's it. With there, now the next thing he brought up was too much of one band, and probably of anybody in the vinyl community, I'm the most guilty of this. I realized that although there is a lot of people that are into heavy metal, most of the early VCers that were here were not into as much metal as I am. They were into older stuff from the 60s and 70s. I completely understand that. And nobody here is into Slayer the same way I am into, and I realize that. And has it cost me? Yes. Do I give a shit? No. The fact of the matter is, that's why I started a channel dealing with just Slayer, because I realized that people were getting tired of all of those posts. And do people want to hear me talk about Slayer in every video? Of course not. So that's why I started that other channel, to discuss just that. And I leave just the general topic for this channel. And it was left at that. But one of my favorite bands, and when I started, you know, by the time I was posting, I'd pretty much shown, you know, I didn't really show a lot in the actual studio album collections and stuff like that. I showed everything, but a lot of that stuff, you know, the bulk of my buying was done in a period of time where I couldn't make videos. And so I haven't really shown everything in my collection. But Slayer's a band that I'm really passionate about, and so I was continuing to round out collections of their stuff, and so that's why a lot of their stuff was shown. And in a lot of threads, they came up. And a lot of question videos, they came up. Do I realize that turns a lot of people off? Yes. And again, that's why I said I've got that other channel for just the Slayer stuff, and you know, that's all I talk about. You know, part of the problem is, and this is one that I can probably bring up that wasn't mentioned. What, you know, one of the things is, you know, the changes that YouTube has undergone primarily because of what Google has done to it. It's really kind of changed my attitude toward the whole thing, and really kind of taken the wind out of my sails, so to speak, when it comes to posting and a lot of other things, because it made it a lot more challenging to do so. And before Google started fucking around with everything, things for me were a lot more easier. I could understand. Like, one thing was when Google started making changes to the way the page looked and everything, my subscriptions got all fucked up. And that was really annoying, and for a while I just stopped and took a break from YouTube, because things just got, things just got really weird, and they're still really weird. I haven't watched a whole lot of videos because the page is really messed up, and it's, and every time I log on, it seems there's something that changes, and it's really confused me. And then this nonsense with Google Plus just pisses me the fuck off, flat out. Now there were a few other things that were mentioned, and things about what the VC is supposed to be about, and I would certainly have to agree with Mr. Mrhoffame on this, is that the VC is about music. It's true, of course, that the LP format is what brought me here, what brought a lot of us here, because it was something that we're all passionate about. But at the end, I believe that the VC is truly about friendship, making friends, and music. And have I shown stuff that's not, exclusively vinyl? Yes, I have. And for a number of reasons, I might not have the album on vinyl just yet, or it didn't come out on vinyl just yet. The thing it was, if I had, if like going back to our threads that we did, if I had an answer for it and I wanted a specific album but I didn't have it on vinyl, I'd use it on the CD copy. And I didn't care about that. Didn't bother me so much. It never did bother me at all, because But use an example. If I want to use, Godsmack in a thread or in a discussion, and I don't have the vinyl, I'm going to use the CD or I'm going to use the cassette in whatever case it may be, and I'm just going to do it. And because I've got a point to make, I want to show it, and I'm not going to let that stop me. And there's only a few more things. One of the things again that he mentioned hit home with me, because again, this is something that that I've been doing since I've been into collecting since I was 17. And that's the fact that I've got albums in my collection and I listen to music that's a lot older than I am. It was stuff that my dad was listening to when he was my age, and that was a running joke, and there was running jokes in high school with me about that the year I was born should have been the year I graduated high school because of the music that I listened to. And it's true, and it's still true. I mean, and is it a little weird for me to have a Zeppelin bootleg from the early 70s? Yeah, probably. But, one, that was actually a gift. I didn't buy that myself. But do I care about that? No. Should I not like music that's older than I am, or like 2 decades older than I am in some cases? I don't think so. Do I think it's weird that I listen to really much older music than I am? I don't think so. I like what I like, and the other thing is that today's music, in my opinion, is shit. In almost all cases, it's just absolute garbage. And what I refer to as the original 6, which were the first bands that got me into a transition between what I was listening to before metal and what got me into metal, being System of a Down, Disturbed, Godsmack, Linkin Park, POD, and Korn. Only half those bands I still listen to. And the Korn, I got sick of real quick and stopped listening to them. I gave away my Linkin Park CDs, and I've only given away 3 albums out of my music collection. 1 I bought back. The other 2 were Linkin Park CDs, and I'm never adding those back into my collection again. The thing of it is that those were shit. Today's music is just trash. And and that's including a lot of what they call metal and hard rock. It's disgusting, in my opinion. And the simple fact of life is this here, is that first time I heard The Doors, the first time I heard Black Sabbath, I'll never forget those experiences. They blew my fucking mind. The first time I heard Iron Man, I was 14, and I'm driving down the highway, with my dad, and it's like, Iron Man comes on. It's like, holy fucking shit, what is this? And it's going through my head, of course. I'm not saying that out loud. but it's like, my mind was instantly fucking blown, and it's like, Dad, what is this? And then I, you know, first thing I do when I get home is look up information on these bands. And at the time, the Columbia House, you know, CD and music catalogs, first thing I do is get a hold of whatever Black Sabbath stuff I could find. At the time, it was the live album Past Lives. And still one of my favorite albums, and I listened to the shit out of that, for a long time, because I wasn't able to find anything else, because this was before you could really find that stuff at, because I never had a lot of access to, like even a Best Buy to be able to get stuff because of where I lived, and the place that I had didn't carry that stuff, and I've never liked going to the internet for, for a lot of this stuff, eBay being the one exception, but I didn't want to do that, and we weren't, there was, nobody was, obviously I couldn't use eBay being 14, but those experiences with with that older music, when it hit me, it was life-changing, life-altering experiences that I'll never forget, And the other thing is, that's the stuff I was raised on. From my, crawling formative years, was listening to Eric Clapton, George Thorogood, REM, Guns N' Roses. I was, listening to that stuff, as long as I've been alive, I've been listening to that stuff. And I also had other influences. I had a lot of, Spanish influence, like Gypsy Kings, that kind of stuff from my mom, and also classical music. And it was like, so I've had a lot of musical influences that, that shaped, what I listen to, and it's, that just, I don't have a problem with it, and nobody should either. If you do, that's kind of, I don't know why you would, because was I at, the Back in Black, tour? No. Do I have, like, at what count, like 3 copies of that album? Yeah. But it is like, I like what I like, and that's the way that it's going to stay. And it's not something that ever bothered me at all. It's never bothered me. Never thought that it would. Like I said, it was at one point a running joke because of how unusual I guess people think it is. But it's like, I like what I like, and I'm not gonna change. Because of that. Do I have the knowledge of somebody that's been listening to The Doors since 1967, or saw them at the Fog in '66? No. I mean, of course not. But that doesn't change how I feel about the music, and that doesn't change the impact that music's had on me. And with, and when it comes specifically to heavy metal music, hearing Black Sabbath launched me on a journey to discover a lot of older music, a lot of older heavy metal music. And it, I was already into Metallica at that time, but I went back earlier into their catalog, and I liked certain songs off Kill 'Em All. Then one day I noticed the speed, and really that was the beginning of me getting into, oh shit, shouldn't have done that, getting into thrash and discovering Exodus, Megadeth, Anthrax, Slayer, Creator, and on and on and on, Suicidal Tendencies later. And it's like, that's what I really, really, really like. That's my favorite genre of metal. That's one of my favorite genres of music. That's what I dig. I don't care that, I was a month old when And Justice for All came out, or I was, 2-3 months old when No Rest for the Wicked was released, or on another subject, I don't care. I was 6 years old when Straight Outta Compton came out. I mean, that doesn't. I don't care. I like what I like, and that part doesn't matter to me. You know, and like I said, the joke's true. I should have graduated high school the year I was born. And the thing is, to wrap this up, all the things that I do on here is a release for me, because I can release my emotions, whether negative or positive. But releasing negative emotions, I believe, is a positive thing. It needs to happen. And for me, it's very beneficial. And I've also been able to meet, discuss, trade with, a lot of incredibly smart, incredibly passionate people, like Mr. Hall of Fame, like Derek, like Robin Boston, like Disaster Piece. And that's just on this channel. I've met and discussed Slayer with a bunch of other people from all over the world, and that's amazing, and that's awesome. And so this thing that we've created is something that's very special, and it's very special to me. And it's provided me an outlet to talk about a subject that I don't get to talk about with a lot of other people. And I'm very grateful for that, because I've been able to get some people interested in, and like an old video I mentioned about a possible new VC member, she's still on the fence. I've given her, I passed off to her a couple of records, and trying to get her interest going. But this is just, it's a release that I need. And my M&M collection is the only thing that I was able to get my friends kind of interested in. There is another friend that used one of my albums for a school project. But other than, really not, I don't have anybody to really get in and talk this subject. So it's like I'm very grateful for the YouTube VC and now the Facebook VC. At any rate, I will excuse me. I'll wrap this up and just say, thank you to everybody. Thank you, Mr. Hall of Fame. You're still one of my favorite VCers, and I will see you all later. Keep the vinyl spinning and keep the negativity out. Thank you.